and combat sports. Okay, they're two different things. They might look the same, and we have a point here that they intersect, but they are two complete different things. Okay? Martial arts, you have a subjective goal, which is self-refinement. You want to be a better person. You want to grow internally. It's subjective. Combat sports has a very objective goal, which is to be number one, to win. Okay? So you can say fairly that if I apply paint with a brush to a surface, you can be both. You can be martial arts and you can be combat sports. But here, you'll be doing an artistic painting, which has a subjective value. You cannot, what you guys might think is beautiful, I might think is hideous, and vice versa. While combat sports would be painting a wall. But both are applying paint over a surface. Okay? I compare martial arts and combat sports also like a car race. Okay? Combat sports is a car race because your goal is to be the first. You have to have the best possible car because you want to be the first. Oh, what an honor to have Grandmaster Jeff Stickman. This is something we talk a lot about, right? Okay. So, martial arts is like a road trip. You have a subjective goal. It might be relax, it might be enjoy the view, it might be getting somewhere, but it's subjective. To each person is different. It's a different meaning. Okay? But for both, you're going to need a car, and a car that works. Okay? I'm sure all of you had a road trip before, and if you don't have tires or if you don't put gas, you're not going to leave your garage, right? That doesn't mean that you have to have the best car. You have to have a good car that works. Okay, so it's not because martial arts is a subject goal, has a subject goal, that you don't need an effective car, which is the fighting. Okay? And then we have a third circle here that is self-defense. I apologize because my writing is terrible in all the languages I speak. Okay? Again, you have intersections. You have a place here where the three intersect. You have a place with martial arts and self-defense intersect, and you have a part that combat sports and self-defense intersect. But what's the goal of self-defense?
Protection.
To defend yourself.
Protection.
Protect yourself. To protect yourself.
Protect yourself and
Others.
survive. Get home in the best shape you can. Okay? And based on that goal, running might be the best option you have. And again, there's no shame in running. And I've always told my students about that, and I would like you guys to share that. It's not because we train, and it's not because we do everything right in theory, or we try to do everything right, that sometimes we have to, preferably, de-escalate the situation is the best way. You know, even if it's better to be, to feel yourself inferior but alive, and with all your teeth, and bones intact, and both eyes seeing well, then you try to be a hero, and then you're fighting a guy, and then because you know martial arts, you can, fight the guy and win. But the guy tomorrow gets a lawsuit, and then you lose your home. Or there's another guy with a knife, and you are fighting this guy here, and then the guy with a knife stab you, and then you die. So it's always the best. So we're talking self-defense, and we're talking martial arts too. Because the martial arts, you want to be a better person. So if that person is in an ego trip, you don't want to be part of it. Okay? But in combat sports, there's no such thing. You have to fight. But you have rules. And although I have a huge respect for combat sport people, I know a lot of them, but I wouldn't do that because I don't like to take blows to my head. I think what's inside is very valuable. And you know, each punch you get is millions and millions of brain cells that die, and they don't go back. You know, and we already have a problem with, you know, we don't have a lot of intelligent people.
Say that again.
I wouldn't. Okay, so we understand that about Aikido. If you Google, you go to YouTube and you try to see an Aikido demonstration, okay? What you're seeing is a demonstration of martial arts principles. It's not necessarily a fight, it's not necessarily self-defense. It's principles. And I always say that all the martial arts are great, okay? And the traditional martial arts survive the test of time. Look, Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, which is the mother art of Hapkido and Aikido, it survives 1,000 years. It was created by Prince Minamoto no Yoshimitsu in Japan in the 11th century. So I believe Japanese people are very smart. So I don't believe that they say, you know what, this sucks. Let's keep teaching this for 1,000 years. No. And we live in a society that you have what's called in French, duel à la mort, which is people walk in and say, you know, okay, I want to fight for you to death. So that's daily medieval Japan life. And you have wars every 5 minutes. So I believe those techniques were tested. You know, and they survived 1,000 years or even more with some Chinese arts for a reason. So if the last 100 years or less, they're not working for some reason, it's because they're not adapted. It's not, you know, like combat Hapkido, like Kempo 5.0. And like what we are trying to do, we're trying to adapt a traditional art to the present situation so it can be useful. But I remember you, and I tell that to all the people. If your goal is to fight and self-defense only, I would never recommend Aikido or Aiki Jiu-Jitsu or Aiki-Budo. Because you can go in any karate taekwondo school, in 6 months you know how to kick and to punch. And Aikido, you know, I started figuring out things 10 years after I started. So you have to go, and we were talking before the class starts, and I said, well, if I tell you guys that to get to those chairs there, you have to go around the airport, go to Nashville, and then come back here and go there, or you prefer to walk in a straight line to go there. You would say, oh, obviously I don't want to go to Nashville, especially on Saturday. I don't know if the joke Saturday. But I mean, you obviously you prefer to go in a straight line.